Welcome back to Stream Media East 2022 after the 3-year blip, and we've got Chris Allen here from Red5. So Chris, what's happened in the last 3 years? I mean, in the industry, not...
You mean there's like this thing called COVID?
Yeah, no. We already know that occurred. So,
yeah.
So from your standpoint, I mean, obviously streaming as a whole took off. What about
I mean, that was definitely a direct influence of the pandemic, right? Everybody and their mother and grandmother and whatnot
learned how to Zoom.
That's right. They learned about live video,
right,
and it became part of their everyday life. And I think, honestly, that helped us a lot because we're focused on this real-time streaming kind of niche, especially niche at the time,
right,
that is now becoming way more mainstream, and people are realizing what latency is and why it matters, and they're finding out that in order to have a live chat, you need to have that video latency to be in a reasonable amount of time, under 400 milliseconds to make it feel natural.
Well, and it's interesting, I come out of the video conferencing background where if we're at 250, you just had to throw it away. But we get a little bit, I think everybody gives a little bit of latitude, especially during the pandemic. So you were talking about decentralization yesterday on your panel. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we've been kind of quietly working on a version of our platform that doesn't rely on any single cloud vendor. Right now, you deploy our nodes on like an Oracle Cloud or Google or AWS, what have you. But the next kind of gen thing that we're doing is basically those nodes can run anywhere in a trustless manner, and we're actually using a blockchain to wire it up and pay people and compensate them for their bandwidth. We're doing a kind of a proof of bandwidth thing.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So kind of like what Comcast did years ago, where they suddenly turned your home router into a free Comcast hotspot, for paying customers. You're essentially...
It's quite similar to that. I think the biggest difference is the incentive mechanisms are there with crypto, which is kind of an interesting aspect of it. Yeah.
So when we talk about real time, sort of the, whether you call it ultra low latency at sub 500 milliseconds or real time, we're doing a survey with streaming media called the business value of real time streaming, and we're asking people essentially to say, if you had this capability, what would you do? So you all provide that capability.
Right.
What do you see?
What are we seeing?
Customers do, or potential customers?
Yeah. I mean, the real answer is interactivity, and that's a very broad kind of thing.
No, understood.
Right? But things like watch parties where people are hanging out together, and interacting. In our case too, you mentioned this kind of video conferencing thing and what people call CPaaS or conferencing platforms, that kind of thing, as a service. We kind of bridge that gap, right? We're like a CPaaS plus a CDN, but
for the scalability piece of it. Yeah.
And so because of that, you can build like video conference married with a live stream, and then things like sports betting with your friends, like other things like that where the latency really matters. Those are the experiences that we're starting to see, at least in the media and entertainment space. And then we have this whole like market of surveillance and kind of drone streaming, body cameras,
ISR kind of thing,
traffic monitoring, all of those kind of use cases.
Auctions.
Oh man, that's always been a use case, and always it was always important to them. What we're finding now, though, is the people that didn't used to care, now they start to care. And they're looking to add this level of interactivity to their stuff.
One of the things, we had somebody from an auction house on probably about a year ago on one of the Stream Media Connects, and he said, look, if the video doesn't get there in low latency, we just switch over to a phone call, because ultimately what we need is the people who are bidding to know that what they're seeing or hearing is in real time.
That's right. It's got to be a level playing field. And we're seeing that a lot. I mean, Proxybid is one of our big customers who does this, and they run, thousands of auctions a day, and lots of really weird environments too, like farm equipment, and really rural areas.
That was actually the example I was talking to the auction guy about, because during COVID I bought a farm.
Oh, okay.
And so
Yeah.
I know about the connectivity issues. And
It's
if I want to
brutal.
go buy a tractor somewhere, you may be off the grid when you get out there. So you're going to have to go in person or figure out some solution that gets the connectivity back to the, to the proxy bidder.
Yeah, most of these guys are using kind of like Wi-Fi hotspots
Yeah.
with 4G.
Right.
5G will start rolling out a bit, but it's not true coverage yet.
Right.
on this stuff.
Absolutely. Especially not in farm country. So.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Thank you very much for your time. Always good to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
And we'll be back.